Hello and welcome to the Limbwalkers Show. This is a cooperative effort with Chesterton High School's radio station WDSO, the Northwest Indiana Workforce Development, and producer Will Glaros. I am Brent Martinson, Chesterton High School principal. To start with, we would like to explain the purpose and name of this show. The show is called Limbwalkers because it is based on a piece from Mark Twain. The quote that inspired our show name is, quote, "One will never taste the fruit unless one ventures out on the limb," end of quote. Next, we would like to tell you about the Work Ethic Certificate Initiative at Chesterton High School. The Work Ethic Certificate is an opportunity for all students at CHS to obtain a certificate that shows the student has the qualities and skills employers value. On Limbwalkers, the students from Chesterton High School's radio station, WDSO, will be interviewing professional members of the community on various topics of interest. This show will air on the first Tuesday of each month at 4 p.m. Today's topic will be being on time or early. Our guest is Mark Chamberlain, Chief Executive Officer from Lakeside Wealth Management Group, LLC.
Good afternoon, I'm Devin Michael with the first program in the Limbwalkers series concerning work ethic certification for high school students. My guest is Mark Chamberlain, Chief Executive Officer from Lakeside Wealth Management Group, LLC. Welcome to our program, Mark.
Good afternoon, Devin. Good to be here.
All right, so our first question is going to be the topic you would like to discuss is being on time or early. So why is this so important?
You know, it's a lesson my dad taught me when I was a young lad, and it was, I never forget what he told me was, a half an hour early is better than 5 minutes late. And I really didn't understand the impact of that at the time, but I know that my dad was always on time and he set a good example. But those words, now that I have a business and have had some experience with people being late and being late myself, they have a whole different meaning for me now.
Are employees who arrive at work either early or on time better employees?
I think they're more prepared, and I think getting there a little bit earlier, even it doesn't have to be a half an hour like my dad said, but 5 minutes early, it allows you time to unpack and get prepared for your day.
I know you came here 10 minutes before we were scheduled to record, so.
It's a habit.
All
It's
right.
a good habit.
It's a good habit, yeah, absolutely. Are they more productive during the workday?
I think so. I think if you start with a little bit of a, head start, if you want to call it, then you're less chaotic during your day. You feel a little bit more organized. You're a little bit more productive and focused. I think walking in late, you almost are pretty much behind for the whole day then, and it's really hard to get caught up.
So, are they also more particular about the work they do or about how they go about doing their work?
Again, I think it's just less chaotic and they're a little bit more prepared. I think it also shows, it tells you about their values. And let me give you an example of not just in the workplace, but let's say a job interview or a meeting with a client. The most precious thing that we have is time. And so when people don't respect the time, your time, and are late for something, then they're telling you that I don't respect you. And so I think there's a lot of personal values involved with being on time or early as well.
So, if you are hiring someone, how are you able to ascertain that they will be a worker that will be on time or early? Is it because they've arrived for the interview on time or early? Or is there something else that you notice?
Definitely early is good. And also having some indication that they've done their homework. In other words, if you're interviewing for my company, you'd be able to speak. Maybe you've been on our website. Maybe you've talked to somebody who's a customer. You would have some sort of background coming in to know who you're talking to and what they're all about. It shows that you're prepared. And being early is a part of that preparedness.
I mean, I can agree with all of that. When I went for my interview, getting a job at Taco Bell, I mean, it's probably different, but I tried to do a little bit of homework and dress relatively well and all that.
It's all about showing the respect for the person that, look, that person is going to, I know you're going to work for them, but that person is going to provide you a paycheck, and give you options, and showing that mutual respect back is really important.
What have you observed during your career in business about employees and whether they're on time or late?
I hate to keep repeating myself, but it just seems like that the ones that, they're supposed to show up for work at 8 and they get there at 10 till, they can socialize, they can be prepared when they sit at their desk. And I just think that it shows that, it shows that they want to be there versus they have to be there. It shows like their enthusiasm for whatever it is they do for their work.
And usually people that show up late are more of they have to be there more than they want to be there sort of
It is.
mindset.
There's understandable circumstances. We have a lot of young mothers that work for us who have kids that get to school, and so that kind of stuff is understandable for sure. But the intentionality of coming early shows you that they're thinking about their day before they get to the office.
They're planning ahead and trying to get everything ready to go
Right.
beforehand. What do you think being on time or early has to do with work ethics?
I think it shows that you care. It shows that you have respect for your employer. You have respect for your colleagues who ideally get there a little bit early as well. If you're the last one to a meeting, or if you're the last, if you're running in the door of a restaurant to meet with a client or a coworker, it's an indication that there's other things you're rushing through in your life, and neither a coworker nor a client nor a boss want to have the perception that they're rushing through things. It shows that they're not prepared.
So it gives the impression that you're not as prepared in everything else.
Correct. I think it does. I think, where there's smoke, there's fire.
So is there really anything else you'd like to add about being on time or early?
I think it's an extremely underestimated. It's probably one of the easiest things that there is to accomplish. Some of the other stuff that was on the list of important things for an employee to have are a little bit harder to describe and a little bit harder to accomplish. But being on time is really a simple exercise. And I think it's underestimated how important that concept is. And it ultimately comes down, as I said earlier, it comes down to showing respect for the person or persons that you are meeting, or you're showing up at work. It just is about respect. And if you can give somebody that gift of time, that's their most precious. It's the most precious commodity.
I mean, the old saying goes, time is money, so.
It truly is, and I would say time is respect as well.
I mean, I would agree as well. I mean, obviously you respect someone by not talking them down in that, but being able to show up on time, I feel, is really important as well.
It shows that you care.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being my guest, Mark. That was Mark Chamberlain, Chief Executive Officer from Lakeside Wealth Management Group, LLC. We discussed the topic of why being on time or early to work is an important work ethic. Limbwalkers will come to you on the first Tuesday of each month at 4 p.m. Stay tuned for a new topic and guest on the next program. I'm Devin Michael. Thank you for listening.